Sales Heroes. Welcome to the Sales Heroes podcast. I am your co-host, Angie Gonzalez, along with the beautiful LaDonna Hale. We are excited to come to you today. And, we kind of have been thinking about some topics to talk about. And every now and then we get a topic that is relevant to our work life that we're dealing with in motion. So we thought, why not do a girl chat and let's talk about it. LaDonna, how's it going? What's going on in your world?
It's going so good, Angie. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love that we were we were going to record another episode and we were like, wait, we're going to pivot based on conversation we were having about some things that have transpired in my sales meetings, right? Being out and about in the world, and same for you. So Angie and I were chatting and we said, let's just do this real quick because we feel like it's really valuable. So just high level overview of me and who I am in the sales world for those of you who haven't had a chance to listen in. I'm LaDonna Hale. I've been in sales for over 30 years. I started selling way even before that. I mean, I was picking strawberries and blueberries for money, and I was selling cans, and I was selling all the contractors. This is funny. My dad's was a construction electrician. And for a time during the 80s, we were in a recession. So my family rented our house out. They rented their home, and we left and lived in a 24-foot RV. My mom, my dad, and myself. My older brothers were gone and in the military, and my little brother was not born yet. So we were living in this 24-foot trailer in this we called it the gravel pit. It was literally like they had this big job site that they had all these construction workers come in. So they just threw up RV parks wherever they could. And so we were in an RV park that was like literally just gravel and like with little pavement slips. And there was one other family in there, Tina. She's from North Carolina. I still am in touch with her. Miss Betty was her mom, and we'd like trade nights that I would stay the night at her trailer and she would stay the night at my trailer so that our parents could have time together. So funny, right? Right. So I was selling, my point, I'll get to it. I was selling to these contractors in this trailer court to get their beer cans because I wanted the cans to be able to recycle the cans because in Washington it was per pound. So I earned like my school clothes and a bunch of other stuff. Soliciting these contractors for their beer cans.
I started a business. ABC in the sales world stands for always be closing, but LaDonna was always be selling ABS. She was full of always be selling. I love it.
Always be selling. So anyway, in chatting, so I've been selling for a long time. That's my point. And we were talking about, I left the industry, and I actually 6 years ago, my mom had some hip surgeries that went bad. And so my husband and I had conversation and decided that we would sell our property to be able to move in with them for a short period of time to be able to help them get everything set up, because there were some holes that we saw after my mom had her surgery with like some things going on for them that they needed help, extra help. I didn't feel like my dad could handle that alone. And so when we did that, when we sold our property and paid off debts and had no debt, we chose for me to quit working. And that was the first time ever in my life that I have had no traditional job. And so I took a few years to help my parents, to travel, to do some like education and training. It was through the pandemic that I wasn't working. So I was able to kind of get out of my state and get into states that were a little bit more free and open, so that I could breathe and have some time, spend a lot of time outside. Learned and grew a lot. But then coming back into sales, when I first came back in, I've been in the flooring industry for a long time. I work for a manufacturer that sells commercial flooring. I sell commercial flooring. I also have had a couple stints where I did medical sales. So when I came back at the end of the pandemic, we were opening back up. I was doing respiratory sales. It was lucrative, but I knew it wasn't where I wanted to be. And then I transitioned back into the flooring world, and I'm now with a flooring manufacturer. I love my job. I love the company I work for. But in that, having sold prior to the pandemic, having sold a little at the end of the pandemic, and then into working in this world post-pandemic, I've seen so many changes. And so that's what inspired this conversation today with Angie and I. The things that I'm seeing that I don't, and I want to put a positive spin on all of this today because I don't want to be super negative, but I do see at this stage in my life, and maybe it's because I've had some growth, I see a lot more kind of out for myself behavior, like where even like internally with with colleagues that are sideline or like in the same organization, competitors outside of my organization, people I'm selling to, because I sell to different facets. I'm a specification rep. So I'm calling on architects and designers and being more like consultative. So that's consultative selling. I'm not selling them anything directly. The products that I consult on, I then sell through flooring dealers, and then sometimes end use. So I've had some instances where even people I had worked with in the past who had this strong kind of allegiance with, that I can feel this, that it just feels different. It feels more out for myself. So
yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I think this is a fantastic topic to talk about, because a lot has changed post-pandemic. A lot has changed. I've been in cyber sales now for, 16 years. I was in sales before that. And I did not take a break during the pandemic, but we were not traveling. So I still kind of dealt with it. But I am seeing the same shift that you are, in the regards that we're seeing two types of people post-pandemic in the selling world. At least you and I are experiencing this. We're not speaking for everyone. We're seeing people that are out for themselves, their number, their product, their path. This is that, they're just gunning for that vision. And then you see the other side of sellers, which are the more serving in nature. How can we strategize? What can we do to achieve this together? Those types of things. And it's funny you brought this up to me today, because this is exactly what I'm dealing with as well, is these two types of scenarios. I consider myself a more servant leader and servant seller. Yes, I'm here and measured against my number. And yes, I am trying to achieve a quote at the end of the year. But I believe in relationship long-term selling. That's what's yielded me success. But my peers in the industry are not like this. So I think that's a good point. I think that the fact that you're dealing with this in the flooring side of the world, I'm dealing with this on the cyber side of the world. It's not industry specific. I think it's all of us have changed post-pandemic, which we know that, right? We know everyone's changed. But why is that happening in sales? Why can't
so interesting.
what do
you think is happening? What do you think has changed?
I don't know. It's so interesting. I don't know what's changed it. I guess the 5-year-old in me says, why can't we all just have that common goal? If we're all working to sell to customer X and that's our goal, why can't we all just lean into that and just, and I know it's, I'm always thinking like, we are the world, we are the children. That song's playing in my head right now, right? Because it's like, why can't we all just figure out the best positive way and outcome? We're professionals in the industry, right? Why can't we lean in on each other? Why does it have to be so selfish driven? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so interesting, because in what you do, you have, like, I don't collaborate with my peers as much. So you are collaborating with your peers.
I'd like to. Not all of them want to. I'd like to. I mean, and this is a question too for, I think, our shares out there, is even we both work corporate. So for me, I want to collaborate internally with the people that I work with internally. Like, hey, how can we strategize and achieve this goal with this customer? But then I also want to partner externally with people that help me sell my product. Right. Yeah. And so I think it's collaboration in general. Why are people so afraid of that word? Why are they afraid to collaborate with each other?
Yeah, we got pretty, and I don't know the psychology of this, but we got so insulated, right? So maybe some of it is that, right? We were not allowed. I mean, we were driven by fear to stay away from each other. Like, I was just having this conversation with my husband, because we were joking about, we were walking our dog, literally walking our dog outside during the pandemic. I mean, I can't keep my dog in my house during the pandemic. Like, come on now. I have a lab that she's passed since, but I mean, like, this dog needs to go to the river. Like, I cannot stay in the home with her for 3 years. We will die. But literally, like, of Labrador overdose. Not anyway. Right. Okay, so we were we were talking because Brooke and I were talking about fear and how it generated so much fear, right? And so we were literally walking down our very quiet neighborhood, far away from everyone. We were distancing, we were being mindful, we were trying to keep people safe as well as ourselves. And we didn't really know, right, what was safe. And this woman rides by on her bike with a mask and literally hollers at us, "Put your masks on!" Like she was so mad. She was so mad.
Outside.
It's the one thing I remember about that whole time that I literally started laughing. I started laughing, right? Because I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be laughing at her, but I was like, this is so ludicrous. Like I'm out, you're nowhere near me. Like I mean, I'm anyway. Okay.
It was the fear. So getting it back to sales, right? Like,
yes,
and
the
then
fear.
how it's changed. It's what's evolving is like, I guess the question is, the question is like, why are we selfishly selling? Yes, we have a number. Yes, we have a family. When you sell your product, it doesn't feed my bank account and my kids and my family. I get it. But you will get farther in life when you have those trusted people that you can work with. So, yes. I mean, I don't know how many times I've helped people make a sale that I never got a penny on, but I built a relationship up. And then when that person knew someone needed my product, they called me and they're like, this person needs your product. And I remember you did me a solid. Yeah. So I think it's shocking to me that this is still, I mean, I guess it's really not that shocking now that I think about it and talk out loud about it, is that we're still just in this selfish mindset of selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
being a servant leader in sales, being a servant in sales goes like you're speaking to that you have helped people. I mean, this goes back to Angie and I have worked in network marketing together in the past. We don't any longer, but we did. And we had a leader, John Melton, and he talks about that all the time, commission breath. And when you're selling digitally, you really can fall prey to that, right? Like that it can very much feel like you can feel when someone is just there to get to the end result. Like it's not true relationship building. It's you're building a fake relationship with me to get to the end result, to be able to tell me what you have, not necessarily like figuring out if I have a need for what you have. And I think that's something that we want people to take away from this, right? Is as a salesperson, we want you to get really good at, and I don't mean serving so much that you never ask or you never propose or you never put a contract together with someone or however it is that you sell, but it's building genuine. I'm not going to sell to everyone that I call on. I can tell pretty quickly when I'm not going to sell to someone. I can also discern very quickly. I just did a school facilities management show, and in that there's a bunch of vendors in a big, area. And so these facilities managers that run schools are coming through, and this one person, I think everyone had just tried to sell him something. And so he was so defensive by the time he got to me that it was like, I don't need floors. And I mean, like, he didn't put his hand up, but it was basically like that. And I literally started laughing. Like I laughed out loud and I was like, well, okay. And then I just started talking to him and we had the best dialogue and it was so funny. And he came back and he thanked me because I was like, I don't need to sell you. I'm not trying to sell you something. Like I'm here to discover whether that's a waste of my time. I'm here to discover whether you have a need that I can serve. Right. But he had seen so many other people through that time that there wasn't really anyone asking him. His needs were roofing and he was in he runs an Idaho school. So he's not even in my territory. Right. But so we talked about like roofers and the thing. So that's what I discovered his need quicker than probably anyone in there. Right. But so it's how do you serve? How do you learn? How do you get really good at being genuine? I'm not desperate to sell. I just am not at this stage in my life. I've been doing this for a long time. I want to have high numbers. There are things that I want to do with the monetary piece of what I get out of selling. I happen to work for a company that rewards me very lucratively when I do well. So of course that's my goal. So for me, it's seeing more people that are aligned with who my goals are, really less monetary and more, how do I get in front of more people that are aligned with my character and my integrity? Because I want to work with like-minded people so that this is easier for me to get to that higher dollar, but it's not always just about selling to them. It's about discovering needs. And so as a
Yeah.
sales rep, I think one of the big things you can do personally, one of the big things you can do is just get really good at being empathetic and discuss, like have it be a sense of discovery, because you want to discover what someone needs so that you aren't approaching people in the wrong way when they need a roof as opposed to floors and they don't have a budget to be able to put on the floor, right? How are you meeting that person? And how do you do that? By getting really good at being empathetic. Train yourself, train your intuition, ask good questions, genuine questions, and get good at at understanding people to discover
Right.
what their needs are.
And we talk about that a lot too. And if you are a person listening that you are driven by that number and you need every penny and you're starting that career and all that stuff where you don't have the option to be selectively selling, then
Yeah.
I get it. I get it, get it, get it. You're hunting, you're grinding, you're driving, right? I'm hunting on the account list I have now. So I get it. I'm hunting. But if you are so focused on your number, your product, your sale, then it's going to take you twice as long to sell what it is you need. When you
Agreed.
have people fishing for you, like in this case, we're going to use your example of the roofing and the flooring. You had the ability to then help him find a roofer. And when that person got the order and everybody's happy, told you thank you, you can say, hey, keep me in mind for this flooring. They're going to now owe you. Now that's one more person in Idaho that's fishing for LaDonna's business, for her product, out wherever, right? And that is what we need in sales. We need more people fishing with us and for us to
Yeah.
achieve the numbers we are trying to achieve. So how do you do that? You stop being on this narrow road of not wanting to just even communicate. You don't have to be rainbows, butterflies, and best friends. I mean, we're in sales. There's a lot of a-holes out there. I'm going to be honest, right? We're facing them. But again, I'm going to go back to a message I heard at church the other day. It's like, we're not walking in their shoes. So if you lead your sales with grace every single time, like say, that guy's an a-hole to me, but I'm going to lead with grace because I have no idea what's in his Cheerios this morning, right? But I'm going to lead with grace because I know that my intentions aren't to just shove a product down his throat. It's to genuinely say, Bob, which we love our Bobs. It's genuinely to say, Bob, I get it. You don't need what I have. That's totally fine. But how are you? What's going on in your world?
Yeah.
How are things been aligning with your business? What kind of direction have you guys been looking at going? What do you think about the market trend? Like there's ways to have a conversation with an a-hole that isn't just closing them off, but you can be selectively distancing yourself to say, you're probably not my people, because if this is our first interaction, I would not want to sell to you because you're going to make the process so hard, so convoluted, so much of a pain that it will not be worth however much money they pay me, it will not be worth it. Right.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
I think when you talk about selective selling, I think that's kind of what I think about because I am hunting on the account list I have now. I don't have a lot of existing customers, so I'm having to build what I've got. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying knowing, oh my gosh, I need to find all these people to buy my product. But that's the wrong way of thinking about it, right?
Right. Because then that starts to put that lack thinking in. So we chatted about open-ended questions. We just chatted about collaboration. I just want to highlight that. Like collaborate in your industry. If you have someone who can help you and that you can help, have those open-ended conversations. Don't get insulated. Don't get isolated like we were during the pandemic. Be open. If you can't do actual leads groups, to be open, figure out ways to find people that are in your industry that have crossover products that you can work together. Maybe it's that you bring 4 or 5 people in and go do a presentation instead of just putting one person in front of them, because time is valuable. Time is valuable for our clients, right? So just think creatively, think constructively about collaboration and serving with others that are aligned with your values. I think that's really I think that's big. I think that's really big.
I think that is really big. And we always try to keep everything positive, but it is sales. So occasionally there's these kind of topics that are kind of serious and like we're dealing with it. You and I are dealing with this every single day. So if you're new to sales, this is normal. You're not alone, that you're having to deal with people that are so narrow-minded about wanting to just sell what they're selling. They don't want to talk to you about what you've got going on. But if you are a person, a seller out there that is so focused on your number, I'm going to speak to you for a second. First of all, I'm giving you grace. I don't know what you're facing in your life right now. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at the fact I said I'm giving you grace. But I really, really want to speak to you for a second because you might have already succeeded in your career in sales. You might have achieved your number. You might be that rock star on the team and where you're just like, get out of my way. I'm doing my job. I'm going to go and then do my life after. I commend you sincerely. But there are so many people that are not in the same path that you're in. And it is very helpful. And maybe you can be helpful to others around you by sharing a nugget or sharing a little bit of tip of your success, or just being open to maybe somebody being new coming to you and saying, hey, I'm newer to sales and you're crushing it. And, I see that you're gunning for your number. How can I gun for my number? Those are collaborative moments. So to all those people out there that are just that side of the track that is just like me, 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 my family, my family, my family, we're all still in the same world. We're all still trying to feed our families. We're all still trying to be healthy. So what's wrong with making sure that we're just kind? You don't have to help. If you don't want to help, don't help, but just be kind. And I know that that's an overrated statement, but I just don't understand that sometimes even after the pandemic, no matter what side of the aisle everybody falls on, doesn't matter. We had a pandemic. We need to acknowledge that. People lost their lives like they do with other diseases. Why cannot we just not be kind in sales, right?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I feel like, and that's what inspired Angie and I to talk about this, is because I feel like my world prior to that time in our life and my world now is that I do see a lot of goodness, but I see a lot of insulation. I see a lot of fear. I see a lot of like fear of collaboration. I see people that have a tendency to be a little bit more elbows out, a little bit more selfish. And so that's what made us want to talk about this today, was that dialogue. So thank you everybody for being on. We really appreciate it. If there's ever a time that you need help in moving to the next chapter, Angie and I are for sure here for you. You can find us through our social medias and just message us. I mean, we're both human beings that are having human experience. We're both very active in sales roles in different fields. And we want it. The reason, I mean, we talk about being a servant a lot. This podcast is literally for us to serve other women that may be coming behind us because of age, or maybe new into the sales, or maybe seasoned and just want a little bit more perspective from somebody else based on length of time and successes. And that's why we're here, is to serve the world around us. I don't believe that God gives us the voice not to use it. And this felt like a really fun platform for us to do that. And that's why we're here. So if you need help, we're both here to help you.
I love that you said that. Oh, I just love talking to you. This is why you're my best friend. And I agree. And all of our sheroes out there, we are here for you. We love that you guys are messaging us on social media. We are here to help you out. And you're not alone. I know sales feels like you're alone. You're not alone. You're everything. I guarantee that you're going through every single day. One of us has already gone through it. So utilize us. Let's build this community. Let's build this platform up, and let's lean on each other. I really feel like that's where we're going to be. So that's our topic for today, Sales Heroes. We appreciate you letting us put our heart out there with you guys. And if you need anything, you know where to find us. But until then, happy selling.